All right. Good evening. Welcome to American Hammers TV, part of the American Hammers Network. As always, it is Wednesday night, and every Wednesday night except for last week, we do a show where we look back on the last match. We look at the next match. Last week was my wedding anniversary, so I took my wife out for dinner. We had a nice time. I didn't do the show, but this week we're back, and just like West Ham, we're having a fantastic, massive comeback. Um, I listen. I can't possibly tell you how many times I've watched that Lanzini goal. I mean, over and over and over and over again. I need a screen like everywhere I go. I just have it sort of playing somewhere. You know what I mean? Like on the phone, the tablet. So I have three monitors on this computer, so one of them's always playing the goal, basically. Yeah, it was tremendous. So we'll start with our normal stuff. If you guys want to be on the show, let us know. Find us on social or go to AmericanHammers.net. If you go to AmericanHammers.net, good evening, Fo. It's nice to see you, my friend. Fo told me on Twitter that he missed my show last week. That was very nice. I appreciated that. Anyway, if you want to do some shopping, buy some cool stuff without spending money that goes to Gold Sullivan and or Brady, you can do that on AmericanHammers.net. Find a lot of cool West Ham stuff. My American Hammers TV flag is actually hanging in the window, which means you can't see it because it's not behind the camera or not in front of the camera. So anyway, it's there. And there's all kinds of stuff with anything you ever wanted. The American Hammers, West Ham stuff on the website. So check it out. All the sales go toward keeping us on the air, basically. So nobody really makes any money off of this. We do it out of love, which is fine. That's how we like it. But we do pay for StreamYard and other stuff like that. So it keeps us on the air. Those of you who just watched Hammer Shots, hope you enjoy Hammer Shots. It's just the three of us tonight. Chris is in the chat room, but he couldn't get his computer to work. So unfortunately, we won't have Chris with us, which is a bummer because we're big fans of having Chris on the show. Wait, I should mention, if you haven't, probably everybody here has. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Okay. Let everybody know that, that we're here. So tonight we've got a good crew. We've got two regulars. We've got from Boulder, Colorado. You're in Boulder, right, Sally?
No. I'm in Aurora right now.
Oh, you're in Aurora. That's right. That's where my wife's cousin lived for a while. From Aurora, Colorado, Rocky Mountain High, home of pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Used to make some of the worst beer on earth. Used to make Coors. It's Sally. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Funny you say that because Coors itself isn't the greatest, but they do make their brand is pretty good. If anybody has a Blue Moon, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Blue Moon is good.
Everybody.
No. Yeah, Blue Moon is good. I agree with that. I like Blue Moon. I have no problem with Blue Moon at all. And from down in Greensboro, it's Greensboro, right? It's Greensboro.
Yep.
Yeah. Greensboro, North Carolina. You can tell he's in North Carolina from his deep South accent. It's Danny. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing well, man. I'd like to go about what you just said. I've been watching the Lanzini goal as well over and over, but I've also been watching it in different languages. So make sure you.
I love that video. All right, I got in trouble. I got in trouble 2 weeks ago. Okay, because we did like a 2.5 hour show, right? And I played two. Danny, you were here for the first hour. Zach was on with us. Charlie, I can't remember who. Sully, I don't think you were there for that one.
No,
you were in class. Yeah, you were in class.
Charlie joined
anyway,
through, didn't he?
I got in trouble because I played a couple of videos, and if you do that, then the algorithms from these content producers will find you and they will shut you down. So our video was blocked for like 24 hours, and I had to go back and cut it off at the point where I started playing videos, which was still an hour and 45 minutes in. So it wasn't like he missed, anything at the end. But there's a great video on Twitter, and maybe the link is out there. I don't know if I can find it, of the Lanzini goal it's in English, in Spanish, in French, and I think the last one is Arabic. The Spanish guy apparently is a guy from Argentina or somewhere in South America, presumably Argentina. And he just starts singing. You've heard this one, right? This is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just starts singing. It's like a song about Jose Mourinho and Tottenham, and I think he's like throwing a little shade on Mourinho and Tottenham, but he sings like a while, like 15, 20 seconds of singing, just impromptu singing. It's magnificent. It makes you realize how the English commentary is actually sort of not the best in the world, but and I love the French guy too, because as soon as the ball hit Lanzini's foot, he knew it was a goal. the guy knew from the moment it was struck. Anyway, so yeah, the video in multiple languages is really, really good. I also watched another video today, and in the background is a song by Imagine Dragons, and my 10-year-old is a huge fan of Imagine Dragons. It's his favorite band. So anyway, so he loved this video too. But it's like West Ham goals from the last, let's say, like 5 years. The first one was Dimitri Payet, so it goes back into like 5 years, and it's a great video set to that song about demons from Imagine Dragons. You know, this is where my demons hide. It's really well done. So if you guys see that on Twitter, check that out too. It's whoever made it. Great job. And we've been praising your video on Twitter all day. So anyway, these are good times, man. These are good times. I got to ask you guys. So we have 3 good results from this season so far. 3 more probably than any of us expected. All right. We have a 4-0 win, a 3-0 win. We have this 3-3 draw. Be honest now. Which one was the most satisfying for you?
For me, it honestly would have to be the draw, just because, being down 3-0 to come back, not even that it was just against Tottenham, but just because it was a 3-0 comeback regardless, especially after being 3-0 so quickly and so effortlessly from Tottenham.
Right.
I mean, they got what they wanted and they did what they wanted. And it was, you felt like you were going to see another, what was it? Tottenham and Manchester United, where they just absolutely
they just went off. Yeah.
So, I was definitely expecting that to happen. But it was nice to see the team, kind of rally around themselves and come back and have the strength to be able to fight back. And especially all the goals coming after Bale came on, even though Bale had 1 or 2 opportunities to seal the game, was pretty incredible. And, I think one thing that shouldn't be forgotten either is we had a good chance to get a 4th as well, but Fornell's kind of bottled it, with this header flying into the net.
That's true. You're right.
But regardless, I mean, I'll take a point on the road any day of the week, no matter if it's beautiful or ugly. A point on the road is better than no points. So that definitely has to be my favorite so far.
What about you, Danny? Which of the results has been your favorite? Do you go for the big wins over teams we were supposed to lose to, or do you go for the draw? The way it happened.
I think the wins matter because they kickstarted the comeback at Tottenham. If those wins didn't happen, we lose against Tottenham by big. Your heads drop after 16 minutes. And you fold. There's a different mentality to the team this season, and I have to give Moyes some credit for that as well. I was sitting there at 16th minute. I said to my brother, David Moyes needs to go home again. Alan Irvine, just stay on the touchline.
Right.
I'm a very superstitious guy.
I am too. I feel the same way. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I won't do on match day. Yeah.
To me, the comeback against a London rival, against a team you dislike, against someone who always rubs it in your face when they beat you. To me, that could be a big point this season. That could be not the point itself, but the point of positive attitude and the way to come back and show resilience and not give up. I didn't think we played bad. If Antonio scores when we're down 1-0, maybe it's a different outcome. But I think everyone played a fantastic game. I had to go back and watch it because I'm not going to lie. In the 20th minute, I turned it off and put it back on.
Of course. Well, I was behind anyway because it was in the middle of the day and, we had stuff going on with the boys and so forth. So I was staying off of social media and not reading all the messages that were coming through on Facebook Messenger. So I was behind everybody else. It's like half an hour later, I was like, hey, did you guys see that? I mean, yeah, everybody saw that. So anyway, it's funny because, we had these 2 great victories, really dominant victories. And here, this was, a match we saved in the last second. I think for me, it wasn't just that it was Tottenham. All right. That makes a difference. Obviously it's a derby. It's the biggest rival we play on a consistent basis because we don't really play Millwall anymore. Right. So this is our big match. They can call it our cup final. I don't care what they call it. They're obsessed with us, by the way. Let me just tell you, Tottenham people are all over Twitter tweeting about us. All right. I see a lot more Tottenham to West Ham tweeting than I do West Ham to Tottenham. So they can say whatever they want about it being our cup final or us being up for it. They were obsessed with us. So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Hey, it's Rob. Rob, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Rob's in Japan now with his family, so at least I think he is. So yeah, it's good to see you, man. That's great. Glad you're here. Where's Gabe, by the way? I haven't seen Gabe in ages and ages. I wonder if he's like found other ways to entertain himself on the internet. I don't know. But anyway, you remember Gabe, right? He's like, he lives in Austin. He's in high school. Do you guys remember him?
Never heard of him.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, the name does sound familiar.
Yeah, Sully does. Yeah, Gabe is a good dude. He's been on the show with us. He's a good dude, but he's like 17, so he's probably got other stuff going on. Anyway, I think this is what happened on Sunday for me is the least West Ham thing that could possibly have happened. The fact that Sully will be back, I'm sure. The fact that we came all the way back, the fact that we did it in about 12 or 14 minutes, after the 80th minute plus injury time. And the fact that I thought after those first 20 minutes, we really looked pretty good. It took a while to get back into the match, but we kept with it. And this team showed something that I haven't seen from West Ham in a long time, which was heart. You know what I mean? Just plain heart.
Yeah.
Just it's cliche. Maybe it's an American thing to say, but that's how I feel. This team had heart. And too many times I have watched us slump the shoulders as soon as the first goal goes in. I've watched us pass the ball around listlessly, and go down 3-0, 4-0 or whatever. This to me felt like a different West Ham team. And it kind of validated what we saw against Wolves and Leicester. After down 3-0, it was like, well, okay, Wolves and Leicester, that was an anomaly. That wasn't normal life. Now we're back to normal life. Like normal services resumed. You know what I mean? But that comeback in the last 10 minutes, last 12 minutes, whatever it was, I think that's going to launch us into the rest of the season. And at this point, I don't fear anybody in the Premier League. I'm not saying we're going to beat Manchester City or Liverpool, but I don't fear them at all. I have there's no match we're going to go into where I'd say to myself, we can't win this one. This team is different. And I don't know. Do you guys think this is a false dawn, or do you really see a change in West Ham right now?
I see a big change. Big change. We ended the season well last season, which was big going into this season. Again, like I said, I didn't know that Moyes was the man to take the team forward, but he obviously said something pre-season. Newcastle was embarrassing. That was dismal. That was the West Ham that no one wants to see. But
yeah, that was the West Ham we got used to, right? That was the Pellegrini. Yeah.
But that West Ham, I think that West Ham's gone now. I think we're sat with the same lineup. We were unlucky against Arsenal, and a lot of teams, you lose a game as late as we did against Arsenal, playing as well as we did against Arsenal. It's a negative impact on the team. But we took the positives from the Arsenal game, went into Wolves, and to me, Wolves is a bogey team. We always lose to Wolves, and we embarrassed Wolves. We showed Wolves up, and then we went to Leicester. After Leicester had just put 5 past City, we showed them up. Tottenham just put 6 past Man United, 3-0 up against us after 15 minutes.
Right.
We came back. The fight is there. It's like a dog that won't let go of your clothing when it's biting. And I love it, man. I'm very happy to be a West Ham fan right now.
What do you think, Sully? Or is this the new West Ham, or is this do we go out and get crushed? Do we get crushed 5-0 on this weekend?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that go into my belief into this team right now, and it kind of comes from multiple points. One of it being the manager, to where he had the, I guess, I don't know if tenacity is the word, but he had the insight to change the formation, which I think put more players in proper positions, and it plays to our strengths, like what's his name, Gold or Sullivan said, we have 8 wingers. Well, okay, let's play a formation where 5 of them are in the middle of the field, whatever the case may be.
Right.
So, So I think that was smart. But not only that, with everything going on with GSB out and all that, the story's been told. I don't have to reiterate it. I think after that third goal this weekend, it was very, very evident that these players are playing for themselves right now. Yeah. Like they're not playing for management. Obviously, I do honestly. I really wish that there were fans at this game because I can only imagine the scenes in that away end
carnage
right there.
It would have been
Yeah, they'd
incredible.
probably still
Yeah.
be screaming, but
Yeah.
but I mean, just the jubilation and everything, you know, and I think it was really big too for Declan being the captain for 90 minutes for a game where we were down 3-0 to
You
come
bet.
back and
Yep.
tie it. You know, I think that was huge, which on the flip side of that, I think it was extremely interesting that Noble didn't play a single minute of this game.
Me too.
You know, because these are the kind of games that you would think that he'd be the first name on the team sheet. But I mean, there is a lot of confidence, and there shouldn't be a reason to fear anybody. You know, I think maybe we could have some luck right now running into these Manchester Cities and Liverpools because they have some injuries and they're not playing their best football right now either.
That's
you know,
right.
Liverpool has given up the most goals in the league, and City has injuries all over the place. Villa put 7 past them.
Villa have not lost. They're
Villa,
legit.
Villa. They are the only team that have not lost a game right now.
Yeah,
I think,
they're
except
legit.
for well, I shouldn't say they haven't dropped points. Put it that way, because a couple teams haven't lost, but they haven't dropped any points.
Right.
Which is crazy to say, you know, a little Villa. But at the same time, you know, once you get a team that plays for themselves and believes in the system and the coach and whatever, anything can happen. And, you know, we still haven't seen Benrahma play or Dawson play for us in particular.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how much Dawson will play, and I would love to see
Hopefully
Benrahma eventually get
Dawson's cover. We know that. I mean, forget about nobody wanted to sign him, but forget about that. He's cover. You know what I mean? So if he's playing, he has big problems.
He was a smart buy.
I think he was too, Danny. I don't mind the Dawson buy. I mean,
he's a cheap player. We had Diop was injured at the time, and we know the history of West Ham when they get one injury. It's just constant.
It's a house of cards.
We've tried with Rice at centre back, and it didn't work. And you know, he's experienced. He's not fast, but he's good in the air. And he was someone that I always feared when West Ham played West Brom and West Ham played Watford. He's the type of defender that when they get a corner, you're the one that, you know, I'm trying to look for because you're big and good in the air.
Yeah, and I know. And listen, I know what you're saying, Phil. Yes, Villa are actually a massive club with a huge number of fans. In a big city. Only meant that they stayed up in the last match last season. So for them to have won their first 4 is, I mean, it's impressive.
Well, not just that, but for them to put 7 goals past the team that won the league by 22 points last year,
past one of the best Premier League, maybe the best Premier League side of all time. Certainly
best
the top
goalkeeper
3 or 4
in the league as well. I mean, Adrian is so good.
I love Adrian, but I mean, I know, but I love him. But I love him for who he is, not how he plays. Do you know what I mean? I loved him for. I'll tell you, when he dropped the gloves against Everton in that FA Cup match, he became my spirit animal forever. You know,
I don't think any West Ham fans will have anything negative to say about him. You know, I mean, that was the only thing that I was excited about for Liverpool winning the championship last year, was the fact that Adrian got some trophies. Yeah, which is nice for him.
Nice for him. And listen, he was a good guy at West Ham. He was loyal to the club. I like him. I like Adrian. He'll always be one of my favorite keepers.
Can I ask a question to Charlie out of curiosity? He just posted something you just put on the screen.
Yes.
We signed the 2 players that he wanted. Who are they by chance? Charlie, just curious.
Yeah, Charlie, tell us who they are.
Charlie. I like
Charlie boy from.
I like that we go into the game against Man City and their best defender's injured. Their best player, probably the best player in the Premiership, is injured. Their left back is injured. Their experience at the back is not there. They've got a new.
And they played today.
Yeah, and they didn't look too good against Porto.
No, they struggled. They went down early.
But that's what they've been doing all season. I mean, look, Leicester beat them 5-2 away, and we didn't let Leicester have a shot. We go into this game with positive. Go in like with a positive outlook, like we have been doing. Don't fear that their name is Manchester City and they win league titles. Don't fear who plays for them. Just play for the badge. And I love that we don't. The players themselves, they ignore the fact that we're GSB out, and they ignore the fact that we are on their asses, and they go out and they've been fucking performing. And it's.
I still think our players are performing better in empty stadiums. And I listen, I desperately want fans back. Okay. I want fans back. I think some fans should be allowed to come back, but that's really a different discussion altogether. If that goal had gone in with fans of the away end. I mean, whoever said it, Richie, yeah. I mean, would have just torn the place apart. You know what I mean? So I definitely want fans back because it's deflating to have a moment like that and then to hear like 3 people going, yeah, it's not how it should be. But I think, Danny, you make a good point. They don't seem to be bothered by GSB out now. I don't know if they were last season or not. It's hard to say.
I'm sure they were because the pressure was there last season.
The pressure was there, and hopefully they're understanding, what everybody says, which is we support the team and not the regime, right? Like we're behind the players, we're behind the manager, and I actually think most West Ham fans are behind Moyes right now, at least insofar as we want him to succeed because he's our manager. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's out to get him, I don't think. Maybe a few people are, but anyway, I think for me, the 2 biggest differences that we've seen are the move to 5 at the back. The formation change has probably been the thing that's been the biggest difference. But I think that honestly, I think with Declan Rice as captain, there's a new energy. Yep. There's youth, there's energy and excitement. And as much as we all love Mark Noble, and I do love Mark Noble, in recent seasons, I didn't feel as though he could snap the team out when their shoulders dropped after the first goal. Do you know what I mean? He got up in their faces, he yelled at them, he was intense. I mean, he was trying, but he didn't have whatever Declan seems to have or not have. They have a totally new attitude now that I haven't seen from West Ham in many years, if ever. This attitude of like, we're going to keep plugging, we're going to keep playing, we're not going to give up. We're going to play our game. Do you know what I mean? We're going to play our game and keep playing our game. I also think it's good they got rid of Felipe Anderson, who loafs. I think it's good that we've got guys like Souček and Tufal and Bowen.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with Benrahma. We'll get to him in a minute. But I like the young, energetic guys being out there because guy like Tufal or Souček or Bowen, they don't know they're supposed to drop their shoulders after we go down 1-0 or 2-0. They just keep playing football, And you have a 21-year-old captain out there running his ass off the way he does every game. I think it's a new breed of West Ham player. I really do. Moyes kind of he took liabilities and he made them strengths, right? Aaron Cresswell was a liability. Arthur Masuaku, even though he didn't play much, was a liability. The whole left side of our team was a liability. He made it a strength. He went to 5 at the back. He put Masuaku in that wing back position. He put Cresswell in that center left back position. And now you've got either Fornals or Benrahma can play in front of him. Now all of a sudden we're strong down that side, whereas we used to get shredded down that side. So, I mean, I feel as though, this really may be a turning point for us. And I am hoping that, when the spring rolls around, we won't have to read the table from the bottom up. We can read it from the top down for once, Anyway, let's go back to what Charlie was saying. He says Cash and Watkins are the guys they brought in. So Matty Cash and I can't remember Watkins' first name. Anyway. Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, how much do you think we missed out not bringing them in? And, we ended up with Benrahma and Kufal and, of course, Dawson as cover. I mean, how is that going to net out for us, do you think?
I think time will tell on all transfers. I guess technically right now you could say that they're working a little better for Villa just because they haven't lost yet. But at the same time, we're undefeated with Kufal. In our last 3 games, we've scored 10, given up 3. But at the same time, we haven't had 2 of our signees play for us. So I think that question is better answered kind of at the end of the season. When people hit safety or they get European top 4 or whatever. I mean, if it helps Villa out to be this year's Leicester, awesome, good for them, But at the same time, I know there are some people that really, really would not want Villa to do anything or have any success. But at the same time, Benrahma could be our next Payet, and stuff like that. So, Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, they obviously has to stay healthy. I don't know if I trust all the stories behind him failing a medical, especially after coming and playing for his
I don't think
country.
that was
But
ever true. I don't think that was ever true. I think that was a bad rumor.
That was just
Yeah.
Sullivan trying to pick it some more
yeah,
money.
Yeah, that
So
was that was never true. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, right now we're in a good spot because where the team, knock on wood, is fairly healthy. I mean, I guess with the exception of the disappearance of Hilaire, but everybody's playing the full length of the pitch, attacking third, midfield, back third. Everybody's everywhere right now, and I think that's important too.
Well, we have 90 million pounds worth of player. Okay, we have two players worth 90 million, almost 100 million pounds, and that's Anderson and Allaire. Anderson's gone for the season to Porto, he didn't play today. And Allaire is, I mean, he supposedly picked up a knock on Sunday. Maybe he did, but he trained the day before. Allaire is nowhere near the starting 11 at this point, and I don't think he should be. I don't know, Danny. What do you think? So you wanted Charlie to answer the question. So he said Ollie Watkins and Matty Cash. We end up with Tufal for a small fee and Benrahma for a kind of a moderate fee. Where do you think that puts us, compared to Villa, and where do you think that? How do you think it's going to play out for the season?
Benrahma is one of those players, kind of like Bowen. When you get attracted to him and you get linked with him, you want him. To me, Benrahma last season, Brentford were the team to watch for me last season.
Yep.
And Benrahma is just different class. And there's a lot of people that are like, well, why are we spending the money here when we could have gone for, a different player in a different position? Well, we got a really good player. And I'm glad that we got him before anyone else. Because if he would have gone to Palace like Izzy did, or Eze, then, we would have bitched and moaned again. So it's always going to be a complaint one way or another. But I'd rather the complaint be that we got him than the complaint be that we didn't get him. Kufau's come in. He was a little bit shaky to start the Tottenham game. But, he was. He's different language, coming to a different league. It's going to take time to adjust. And Matty Cash is a decent player. So is Ollie Watkins, obviously. I mean, Ollie Watkins is, I think he was top scorer in the league last season. He's a real striker. He's very different from Antonio. I would have been okay with Ollie Watkins coming in, and I think it would have been exciting if we got Watkins and Benrahma, to be honest.
Yeah.
They've linked up at Brentford. But I'm much more happy than what we did rather than what Villa did. I don't look at other teams and how they perform until we're playing them, and I look at, how their last few games have gone, and all we can worry about is if we keep winning games, then it doesn't matter what other teams do. So that's how I look at it. We've got a good enough team that we're not going to go down this season. I was worried at the beginning of the season, and I think we're going to finish top 8 if we keep playing like this, maybe top 6, and it's exciting. It's a good time.
I mean, this Kieran said something here too that I want to go back to as well, because I'll never ever get tired of talking about this Tottenham game. It's just everything, it's just I mean, it's funny how football's a funny game, right? It's funny how you can win 4-0 and it feels great, and you can draw 3-3 and it feels so much better just because of the circumstances. I don't think any other sport is like that, really. But the way the players celebrated, there was very genuine emotion there. That was not just, that wasn't for show. I think, Sally, what you said comes back to me. They're playing for themselves. I mean, they were proud of themselves. They were excited. I think there's a spirit on this team that I haven't seen in a long, long time, and that I'm not sure I've ever seen. Certainly not in the last few seasons. I don't think it's down to the manager. I like Moyes. I've supported him for a while now, but he's not any different than he was last season. I think it's down to, younger, hungrier players, which is what he said he wanted, what he brought in.
Yeah, no, I think part of that celebration too was just the fact that it did come from Lanzini. I think regardless, people would have lost their minds, even if, Snodgrass had scored it or whoever. But I think just the simple fact that it was Lanzini and all that he's been through. And, I know a bunch of us on the channel have kind of got on his back too. It was great to see.
Yeah, it was
and not
great
only
to see.
just the goal,
Yeah.
but it was great to see the replay and see Ogbonna like, you're not going to touch this ball kind of thing, when he sat the defender down too.
Yes.
That was pretty great. But I mean, that just goes to show, like I said, they're playing for each other.
Yeah.
It is great to see. I think maybe the last time you saw it like that was, the last year at the Bowl In, because the team was just so good and the circumstances there too. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see, and that's not necessarily something that like fans complaining can do or even bringing in new blood. It's just, the teams, the players on the team just have to do it for themselves, and I think that's really important too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kieran talks about the 86 team, and I'm sure you're right. I was old enough in 86 to remember, but I wasn't in the right place. So, yeah, even if you go back to like the FA Cup final team, if you go back to the playoff win in 2011, I haven't seen this level of, I guess you'd call it enthusiasm or belief. Belief is a good word, and it's making me believe, which of course is the worst thing you can do as a West Ham fan. It's like the old quote from A Fish Called Wanda. I can handle the despair. It's the hope I can't stand. That's kind of where I am right now. I have hope, and I'm thinking, well, how long am I going to have hope? So, all right, Fo. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you again soon. I want to go to Manchester City here for a minute, if you guys don't mind. We'll talk about who plays and who doesn't play. Because as great as the finish against Tottenham was, let's not forget that we were down 3-0 after 15 minutes. All right. And we brought on Yarmolenko, who I thought was actually pretty good in the short time he was on. We brought on Lanzini, who scored the goal. Our producers like Antonio came off, Fornals came off. The guys who have been producing, they didn't really produce. They came off. We brought these substitutes on, and we had the big resurgence after the subs came on. So we had been sticking with this starting 11 that had been winning, but the starting 11 didn't produce in this match. They were down 3-0 until the 82nd minute when the subs came on and had this big impact. So what do you do for Manchester City now? Do you go back to that starting 11 and say, keep the momentum going, or do you make some changes? Because again, for 81 minutes, we were in deep trouble. What do you guys do?
I think we stay the same. This team hasn't let us down. They let us down for the first 16 minutes, but then they showed fight. And it's I mean, you can see the goal in the first 45 seconds and you're going to be chasing instantly.
Yeah.
So it's the reaction that we got. I think Antonio has a hamstring injury as well, by the way. I think I read this morning.
Oh no, it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I heard that's what happens when you continue to play the same team. Injuries happen. It's something that Wolves did, and it worked for them for a long time. And I think that it's something that Moyes will do. It's kind of how when he was Everton manager, he played, Tim Cahill, Marouane Fellaini, and the regular boys every game. And Cahill ended up retiring early for an injury. Fellaini ended up in China, didn't do anything for Man U because he was injured. It's you've got to kind of limit how often you can do it. But it's early in the season right now when they're professional athletes. And I like the mix of youth and I like the mix of experience in there. I think they're all playing together. We've got a different Masuaku this year. The position that Cresswell's playing is working. He's got the top assists for the defender in the league this year. He's top 3 chances created. And
he's been fantastic. And I love his comeback. I love it because I was like Eric Cresswell.
I think that there's I hate to say it as well because I've met the guy so many times and watched him for years, but I just don't think that. I think this is it for Mark Noble. I think, unfortunately, this is his season. I think he's passed the armband to Declan Rice now. And it shows me that Moyes isn't afraid to make a decision in giving someone so young the armband.
Yeah.
There is one player besides Rice that I would give the armband to, and that's Ogbonna.
Agreed.
But I mean, Declan Rice has been fantastic, and you can't sit there and tell me he wants to leave this club. He's the way he celebrates, the way he's passionate about everything. He's a top athlete, and to be only 21 years old and show this much positivity and maturity and stuff is fantastic. I'd like to see Benrahma come in to the game in City.
You want to see him start, or you want to see him
No,
start
I
in
know.
11?
I wouldn't. I do want it to start, yes, but you have to earn that spot. Don't
Yeah,
change.
I agree.
Don't
And
change
Fornals has
this.
been good. Fornals has been good,
Yeah.
right? So
He should have scored
yeah.
that chance, but
He should have.
happened
Yeah, he
then.
should have. But then
But
Bale should
how
have
many
too.
times do we say Fornell should have scored? And
Yeah.
that, it happens all the time. Fornell should have scored. Fornell
But
scuffed.
occasionally he does, though. Occasionally he does. That's the thing.
He does.
Sometimes he does.
He does, but I don't think we've got anything to fear going into Man City game.
I don't either.
think that, keep it as it is, and if Antonio can't start, then that becomes an issue, because if Haller is not 100% and Antonio is not 100%, well then do you move Bowen up
Yarmolenko.
top and do you bring Benrahma in?
Yarmolenko for me up top. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a striker. He can do it.
I like that as well. We give David Moyes a lot of shit for late substitutions. He did it. I'm sitting there in the 60th minute, like make a change.
Yeah.
But we weren't playing terrible. We put in the pressure on Tottenham. I like that he waited when he did. I was a little bit, I can't say shocked, but a little bit annoyed when he took Antonio off, because he's the only player that seems to be scoring lately.
Well, supposedly it was because he had picked up a knock. That was the
that was the hamstring injury.
Right. His hamstring was sore. Yeah.
Yeah, he tweaked it again. It was tight or something, but he tweaked it in training. But no, I think you stay the same. To answer your question in a short sentence.
Who do you put up top, Danny? If Antonio can't go,
I mean, Yarmolenko can't go for an hour and a half, I don't think. I don't think he's got it in him. I mean, maybe you start him for 60, 70 minutes, but I don't think we've seen enough of him as a striker. For Ukraine, he's the right side of three. For West Ham, he's always played on the right side of, three.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with not buying a striker.
Yep.
That's the problem with getting rid of.
That's why I wanted to see Josh King. I wanted to see Josh King.
I wanted to see Josh King, and honestly, I mean, Charlie will like it, but I would have loved to see Hugo stay just as a squad player, like a Craig Dawson player.
I feel the same way. Listen, why did we get rid of him? He was on. He wasn't on.
He does. He scores goals.
Well, he wasn't on a lot of wages, and we didn't sell him for much. I mean, what's that? Why not keep him around like David Martin? He's like David Martin. Just keep him around if you need him. You know what I mean? He's not a liability, really.
I think I bring Benrahma in, Lee, to answer your question. Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you put up? Who would you put up top?
I would. Fuck.
Because everybody's a winger now.
Yeah, I would probably put Benrahma up there, and my reason for that is he got, I think it was 20 goals and 24 assists last season. He's in the right place.
Yeah, he scored a lot.
And it's for your debut. You're going to want to make an impact. You're going to run after everything. You're going to want to be on the ball, take your chances. I think I would give him a go if it comes down to it. But
as a striker,
we don't have a striker on the bench. We got rid of Silva and Hugo, and it's just, it's unfortunate right now. But I
don't want to see Haller back in there, and not because I don't think he's a good player, but because I don't think he's right for this system.
He's not,
because I don't think he wants to be there right now. And what I saw on Sunday was a bunch of guys who want to play for West Ham and want to play for each other. I think you bring him in there and you break that atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? You break that. I don't know. What would you do, Sully, on Sunday? Do you start the same 11? What do you do with Benrahma? What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to start the same 11. I think the only person you might change is maybe throw not Fornals, but Lanzini in there. But you have to reward the quality of the performance. I mean, granted, like everybody said, we were down 3-0 quick, but for the last 85 minutes of the game, we managed to come back. And I think a majority of that was with the players that you started with. Plus, like we were saying earlier, this is the same starting 11 that beat the previous two teams 7-0. So I think that definitely has that definitely needs to go a long way too, because you don't want to change it unless somebody gets hurt, like legitimate in practice or anything like that. You don't want to change it up because that's where your confidence is right there. And one thing I've always said about this team is how they don't ever keep the same starting 11. And a lot of your successful teams, like who's going to be on the field. So I mean, with the exception of Antonio, I think we need to go into it unchanged. I think you bring in Lanzini off of, I guess, principle, unless for whatever reason, like well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's necessarily a situation where you don't bring him in, but,
Right.
Bring him in again for the last 15, 20 minutes, see if he can create a spark. He could be our Yarmolenko from last year.
Yeah.
I would love to see Benrahma get some time too, and if I guess, if Antonio –
would you put him in the starting 11?
I mean, if there's no one else that we can find to play striker, sure, yeah.
I mean,
I know he's not necessarily a striker, but
right, but he scored a lot of goals. I mean, are we going to make his Premier League, have him make his Premier League debut playing out of position up top? I mean,
for West Ham, I wouldn't be surprised, but
well, this is true. We're the club that played Antonio at right back, so
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was still, if he's healthy, put Haller in there. You pay £45 million for the guy. You have to play him if he's healthy. I mean, regardless of if he's right or not, you have to play him. But I mean, and it's one of those things too, to where we need players in the back, but at the same time, we gave away everybody up front too. We had 3 strikers that were subs, and they're all gone now. So, I mean, we put ourselves in this position to where if Antonio and Haller can't play, well, we can't ask for Silva back. We can't go to Celtic and ask for him back, or Norwich. So, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody in the – and I know this wouldn't happen. I'm just being hypothetical. I know if there's somebody in the academy who, hey, here's your debut against Man City. Good luck.
Well, we did with Ben Johnson. Did it with Ben Johnson a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it could be somebody's, door, somebody could come up and get a hat trick. I mean, you never know. But at the same time, I feel like the only change for me would be Haller if Antonio can't play. But even then, I think you're going to have to bring an academy player up for a backup unless you decide, like, hey, we'll play Yarmolenko up front should Haller need to come off.
Right.
Yarmolenko just won't be in the game at all against a City team. That's
no, absolutely not. No, he won't be.
For someone so tall, he is so bad in the air. He's just very slow. He's like
slow.
Someone you put on against a team that is like, like a fucking Blackburn Rovers or,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I rate Yarmolenko highly, but he's got so many negatives to him.
He's probably got the best left foot on the squad, but other than that.
He's like a tortoise that just –
he has
speed. Yeah. He's just nothing. I don't know. I like him, but I don't know why.
Well, he is slow, and that's why we can't play him on the wing. That's why he's never worked on the wing, because he's too slow. He can't track back. He doesn't work in this. He certainly wouldn't work in this system. I mean, the only thing about playing him up top is he's capable of being a striker. He's a striker for Ukraine. He was a striker for the club he came from. So, my thought is, if this is a question of kind of attitude, if it's a question of attitude, I'd rather have Yarmolenko out there than Haller. If it's a question of talent, I'd rather have Haller because he's a better player, But to me, there's a chemistry on this team that's working right now. And like when we went out and played Everton in the League Cup, it didn't work. Do you know what I mean? When you had Anderson out there and Haller, it just was. It would look like West Ham from, January. It was a disaster. So I don't want that to seep back in this match, and I don't know if it would or not.
Do you think that if Haller, Yarmolenko, Anderson were on the field against Tottenham when that Lanzini goal went in, they would have had as much passion as the 11 out there that celebrated? I can't.
No, I don't think they ever did. No,
in a bundle celebrating.
I don't think.
You're talking about like if one of them scored the goal and not Lanzini?
No. Like
if they'd been on the pitch
as much.
Well, I mean, considering Yarmolenko was on the pitch, I would say that he would be for sure. But
I don't think
Antonio was one of the boys. Like he would have been shirtless in there too. He
jumped on there, off the subs bench. But I could honestly not see Haller jumping for joy. He just reminds me of like last week when I was on the Friday Night Lights, and John asked me what kind of food would you call Sebastian Haller? And I'd call him the Sour Patch Kid.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say.
Bad taste in your mouth, but you taste good. So
that was the exact answer I was going to give, Danny. That's what's so funny, and I thought about that before because I didn't last all the way to that question, but that was the exact thing I was going to say. It's a Sour Patch Kid. Plus, he's just
Yeah.
got a bitter look to him. I don't think Yarmolenko is a bad influence on the team. He comes in, they score the goal with against Tottenham. They scored they have the comeback with him on the pitch. But I'm with you. This is how I feel. I think if Anderson's out there, I think if Allera's out there, first of all, I'm not sure we come back like that. I'm not sure we score those 3 goals. And secondly, there's no way they're jumping into that big pile. They don't feel it. They don't feel it. I'm sorry, but they don't.
I think one thing for Haller that I think, just to play devil's advocate here because it's fun.
Well, that's why we're here.
I think a lot of it for Haller is the fact that a couple of things. One, I think he's frustrated at himself for not proving himself. And 2, I think he's frustrated at the team for not allowing him to try to prove himself.
100%.
You know, especially once Moyes came in. Like, once Moyes came in and Anderson scored, or not Anderson, but Antonio scored a goal, it was pretty much a wrap for Sebastian, you know. But you think about it, when we were our early cup runs, he scored in both those games, with the exception of Everton, the first 2 games. And granted, his second one was off of a substitution. Like, his first touch was the header to the back of the net, and dude just stood there with the most confidence you could have as a striker and just in the back, far side of the net.
Yep.
So, and I know he didn't show emotion, but I think a lot of that, not emotion in that goal specifically, was him see, this is why you should play me kind of thing. Very similar to who is that Man City striker that was always causing trouble?
Balotelli.
Balotelli. He reminds me a lot of Balotelli.
Yep.
Maybe not to the degree of Balotelli, but there's a lot of aspects there. Incredibly talented, but the work rate might not be there, but he can set a match on fire, and really with like no room for any kind of chance, he could still score, and as much as people might not agree, he's probably one of the better strikers we've had for a while, like pure strikers as far as overall talent.
There's no question he's probably the best since Dean Ashton in terms of overall talent.
What is he doing wrong in training, though? He's got to be doing something in training that says I'm not good enough to start.
I'm with you. It's got to, and I don't think it's lack of skill. I personally think, and this is total exactly.
It's probably just a combination of things.
It's total conjecture because we're not there. No. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's a combination of things with, like you said, obviously we don't know, but if he doesn't have a work rate, it's obviously not going to show up in training. But it's also the same compounded thing to where Antonio just so happened to lead the league in goals scored at the replay, which obviously if you're not going to take your hot hand out, right. Could Haller scored 8 goals? Probably, maybe, but at the same time, he didn't, because Antonio was. So I think that's a lot to do with it too.
And Antonio was the best player in the Premier League after the restart. Those last 7 games, whatever it was, and certainly had the biggest impact, I think. But
yeah, definitely.
I'm with both of you guys on this. I think you're right, Stelly. I think he's frustrated with himself. He's frustrated with the manager. He's frustrated that he's come to a club that does not play the system he wanted to play or he used to play. But I think Danny's got a point too. Something's going on behind the scenes that we don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, if this guy is a bad influence, then Moyes is not going to break this chemistry he's got going by putting him in. I think he could be a bad influence. We've seen this. You know what it's like? It's like Kyrie on the Celtics, right? I mean, sorry, all the English guys to come up with an American sports reference, but Celtics trade for Kyrie Irving, and he's a great player, but he just didn't fit in Boston for whatever reason with their other players. It just didn't work. And, ultimately they were better without him. When he was injured a couple of years ago, they went to the conference final and they were a game away from the NBA finals. With him, they were a demonstrably worse team. So, but the guy's a fantastic player. He's probably the best player on the team. He just didn't work with everybody else. And I see that a little bit with Haller. He just doesn't seem to have the same attitude. He doesn't seem to have the same passion. He seems frustrated, as you said, Sully. So something's going on behind the scenes. And what I worry about is, I think Kieran's right. He set it up here. He said, I think we're going to need him. I think we're going to need him too. But I'm worried about what happens when he comes in. What do we get?
I'm so happy for Lanzini. I'm so happy that he got that goal. What he said after makes me happy. I'm so glad we kept him just for loyalty purposes. He said, "I love this club. I love this fans. This is a second home." And
Yeah,
then
I
he
love
always
that.
does it
I
against
know.
Tottenham. It's always Lanzini against Tottenham. Always.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But it's literally just.
And you
playing
have to love him
against
for
the
that.
Hill.
If for no other reason, you have to love him for that, right? He scores against the right club.
Yeah, and he's a good player, man. He really is, and he's going to be a big asset this season. Injuries are going to happen. Changes are going to need to be made. Lanzini's a big keep for me.
You know,
over Lanzini.
he says he's back. Charlie's getting into the basketball. You know more about basketball than I do.
Charlie's not wrong, just like James Harden.
He's not wrong, exactly. And you guys are better at basketball than I am. I watch the Celtics, but I don't really watch the rest of the league that much. So anyway, but going back to going back to Allaire and what we were talking about, I think I do think we need him. I just worry about him being a Kyrie type influence. But I wanted to go back to something too that Charlie said earlier. And I can't find it, but he says Moyes is going to play on the counter against City, set up defensively and have us play on the counter. I don't know about I'm not sure about I know he used to do that, but we have scored 10 goals in 3 games. All right. 10 goals in 3 games against 3 good teams. And I know that the last game, I know the circumstances. It was a draw and we had to score 3 in 10 minutes, whatever. But we can score. We can't defend, but we can score. I think we can go for it against City. I don't think there's any reason to set up defensively. I don't think he will. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's interesting because I wouldn't be surprised either way. I would expect us to play maybe not defensively, but more so to protect the net than to be overly ambitious and go after theirs and leave yourself open in the back,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, like I was saying earlier, Man City, they just have a bunch of injuries. They gave up 5 goals a couple games ago. I mean, it's obviously Man City. They're going to have more possession than we are. I mean, regardless of if we play defensively or offensively, we just have to we have to capitalize on any chance that we get because we're probably not going to get a lot of them. You know what? No, I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to get rolled, but at the same time, we have to capital. Yeah, we could get rolled in any game.
We get rolled in any game because we're West Ham, and that can always happen. But it happened to Liverpool, and it happened to Man City, and so I feel as though Premier League this season, there's no predictability. You can't go into any match and say. Yeah, I mean, look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea drawing with Southampton when they were up. They were up 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. I can't remember how it progressed, but Southampton did what we did basically, scored in the injury time to draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Chelsea did that.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea also have the disadvantage of having one of the 2 worst keepers in the league. I feel like, but at the same time, I think that's just the Premier League period. No one would have ever said at the same time. That they would expect Villa to put 7 past Liverpool, or that I mean maybe Leicester putting 5 past City makes more sense, because Leicester are still a good team and they were close to being top 4 last year.
It's less of a surprise, and City
are less of a surprise.
City are vulnerable. That's the thing. City are vulnerable in defense, I think. I mean, they certainly were against Leicester. I think they're vulnerable in defense. I think they give up goals. I want to see us go for it. I really do. I'm with you guys. I don't know what Antonio's status will be, but I want to see fundamentally the same starting 11, and if we have to put a striker up front, I would still go with Yarmolenko personally, but I understand the argument not to. The only other thing people are talking about, and Kieran brought it up here, is Tufal, however you pronounce his name. I've heard a few people saying that he looked a little off the pace against Tottenham, especially early on, and suggesting that maybe Frederick should come back in. I am as against that as I can be. Does anybody think Frederick should come back in? Because I think that's a bad.
No, I mean,
I think Wally does.
Right. And I guess, as much pace as Kufal might not have, he's much more technically sound than Fredericks is. And Kufal also put a shift in. But, I mean, at the same time, just because Frederick is faster doesn't mean that he's going to be able to stop anybody. You know, I mean, all the top teams in this league have nothing but pace and skill, and it's just a fact. You know, so whether or not Kufal's back there, Johnson's back there, Cresswell. I mean, I get nervous that Cresswell's going to start on the left hand side. You know, you know, but at the same time, Kufal still needs to get adjusted to the league. You know, not everybody comes in from different leagues, especially from the Czech Republic, and just kills it. You know, so I think he's still getting adjusted. Granted, he might not be that quick, but at the same time, you know, I think as long as he's fundamentally sound, you know, for me, that's his spot to lose.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't like Fredericks. I mean, again, just a half decent going forward. Doesn't defend well. Kufal is tough, man. Kufal's he's an enforcer. I like that guy. I mean, from what I've seen of him, I mean, I like him. I think he's an Eastern European gritty. You know what I mean? He reminds me of like one of those Russian hockey players.
He reminds me of Thomas Repka.
Well, yeah, he is like Thomas Repka. Hopefully, a little less insane.
Just not as hopefully he doesn't go to jail or. The way I look at this game is Man City are going to score. That's just inevitable.
Of course they will.
We're going to have to score.
Yes, we will.
Which means we can't sit back. We can't wait for them to score and then try and do something, and then they catch us on the counterattack with Sterling and Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Aguero. There's just so much talent there. You can't go into a game. So go from. If I'm the manager, having experience playing and stuff like that, you go for it right away. We got the winning mentality right now. Don't start out like you did against Tottenham. Get on the ball, get a few confidence touches, pass the ball around, get everyone involved early.
Yeah.
And, don't fear, just like I said earlier, don't fear the name Manchester City. They're there for the taking this season. They got very, very young defense that I don't think they've played the same back four this season once. So they're all over the place, and your one chemistry position on a football field is your defense. You don't ever change the defense unless it needs to be changed, and they cannot figure out their best four right now.
Yeah, they're definitely vulnerable. There's no doubt about that. We listen. We've seen that. We've seen that all season. Just out of curiosity, what do you think? How pivotal a match is this for you guys? If we do go out there and we do pull a West Ham and we do go down 5-0, do you think it puts us in a tailspin, or do you know what I mean? I'm wondering how permanent this current form is for us. Is it a match by match thing, or do you think we have the players and the tactics and the manager to carry this out through Christmas and over the course of a whole season?
For me, it's match by match, because one reason I'd say that is, look at how last year started. We got crushed by Manchester City, but at the same time, we get the benefit of the doubt because it's the defending champions. They came in, they rolled us. Okay, cool.
Everybody
whatever.
said, yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
Yeah, the season didn't start until week 2 against Brighton for us anyways. But, we lose to them, and then we go out and we don't lose a game until Fabianski gets hurt. Well, until after Fabianski gets hurt.
Right.
And that was 5 or 6 games where we didn't lose.
Yep.
So I think regardless of if we win or if we lose, if we win, awesome. If we draw, great. If we lose, I guess, you can still say, oh, it's Manchester City, whatever. But I think it depends on the manner in which each of one of those things is done. We're not coming back 3-0 down against them, just because I just think they're way too disciplined.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
they're not Spurs.
they're right. They're not Spurs, but at the same time, they are there for us to, we could 1-1, 2-2, whatever, or we could even go out there and win, get a late winner or play ugly. All we have to do is play to our strengths. We can't play Manchester City football. We have to play West Ham football, regardless of
Right.
who it is, that's how we have to play, is to our strengths, And it's unfortunate that we won't have the fans there this weekend, because I know that would make a big. I would
After
like to
this
think that
Tottenham
would
game,
make
it
a
would be
big
the
difference.
atmosphere
But
would be tremendous. The atmosphere would be tremendous after what just happened.
yeah, right. Well, not even just a Tottenham game, just the past 3 games in general.
Right. In general,
it'd be great.
Yeah.
But I do think at the same time, there's a lot of confidence in that locker room right now. And some of those players, they know that Manchester City is going to be there for the taking, and I'm sure they're talking about that amongst themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, just like how Kieran was saying, Manchester City, Liverpool is the last 2 teams of this gauntlet, and at this point of the year, if I was to tell you that we beat Leicester and Wolves by a combined 7-0, and that we have a +4 goal differential, nobody would believe it.
And we're in the top 10 and we have 7 points. We were supposed to have nothing.
We're in the top. Yeah.
If we lost to Newcastle, we were supposed to have nothing by now. 0. Be rooted at the bottom of the table. And instead we're competitive. We're good.
Yeah, we started off pretty rough. It is what it is, but we're not playing rough right now. There's
selling Grady, I think, was a big deflating influence on the team, but we seem to have gotten past it. And I think part of it is the tactical change. I don't know, Danny, you're pretty confident we can finish top 8 or top 6. You seem to think this is more of a,
I think I agree it's game by game, but we have no better time during the season to play Manchester City and Liverpool back to back than we do right now. We have nothing to fear, like I keep saying. I think
nothing to fear.
We're on a high. We're on a high. We're doing great. We're positive. I think we go there, and I see us. I mean, the West Ham way that it's always been is we perform against the bigger teams. We don't against smaller teams, which is a great example of how the season has started, in my opinion. We didn't perform against Newcastle. We performed against the other 4 teams that last season we would have folded against. I go into this game very positive. I'm not sure who just said it in the chat, but again, one change that I may make is Balbuena and Diop.
I was going to ask that question. Yeah, Charlie brought this up, and I think it's a good point. Now, Balbuena did score. He did score the goal to start our comeback, but he struggled.
His job
he
is
struggled.
to score goals. His job is to
Son was toying with him the entire time, and it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Goals, and
if they hadn't taken
a bonus.
If Mourinho hadn't taken Son off, I'm not sure any of this happens for us. I think that was a bad choice
for Mourinho.
Yeah, he thought it was over. He was going to get his reserves, a little bit of a run out. I think Mourinho made some bad choices, but no, I think that's a good point. Now, because Balbuena has been so hot and cold, really his whole West Ham career in a way. I mean, sometimes he looks very solid, but sometimes he just gets exposed. I don't like him necessarily against the pace of Manchester City. I think Diop's got a little bit more pace. Although Diop hasn't been a world beater either, and he hasn't played for weeks now. I'm with you, Danny. I think I might make that change too. What do you think, Sally? Do you have a thought on Balbuena versus Issa?
Yeah, I would start Diop. I think Diop has a little bit more speed to him. He's taller. He can kind of, whenever he decides to jump, he can compete for the dual heads. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because both of them were a great pairing the first year that they both came to the club.
They were
2 years ago. They were great. I mean,
Fantastic.
Issa was up for a $60 million move, and everybody referred to Balbuena as the general. And for whatever reason, Issa hasn't necessarily came up to his to standards. But the one risk that I think you do run putting Issa out there is coming back from injury and throwing him back against Manchester City. I mean, maybe you sub for him. I mean, it's always weird to me to sub the back 4 if you don't need to.
I think it's really rare. Yeah, really, really highly unusual unless there's an injury or something.
Yeah, but I mean, if Issa's fit and Moyes believes in him, bring in Dawson, right?
Diop was fit enough to make the bench last week, so he's had enough time to come back from injury.
Yeah, he was. He just had to quarantine. He wasn't really injured. He just had to quarantine.
Oh yeah, that's fair. So
it was
if his fitness is well, for 90 minutes, yeah, throw him out there.
Yeah.
Especially because since it's a back three, for the most part, he'll have a little bit more space to cover. He could probably cover that space a little better, because even though people can get behind him, I have seen plenty of times where his recovery speed has prevent goals.
Oh, I have too. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Yes, he does. When he has to track back, he tracks back well, and he's disciplined. He doesn't. I've seen him give away penalties, but it's not the norm. You know what I mean? It's unusual. So yeah.
Man City are missing 6 players this week. I think it was what I saw. Laporte, Stones, Fernandinho. That's 3 of their defenders, and then Jesus, De Bruyne, and I think the 6th one was Rodri.
They're missing De Bruyne. That's huge. If they're missing De Bruyne, I mean, that's he's one of the best players in the world.
But the best player to perform against West Ham is always Sterling. So that side of the field is going to be key.
Yeah.
And it's a toss up on who's better, in my opinion, between Sterling and Son, which I don't really want to get into because I don't want to give Son any more attention tonight. But
no, I agree, and I think Charlie makes a good point here too. I think Balbuena struggled in the high back line. And it's what you were saying, Sally. Diop has if we're going to play a high back line, Diop has the speed, he has the pace to get back, whereas Balbuena really didn't.
Diop makes more sense.
Balbuena's too slow. Yeah,
Diop
makes more sense. I think this is a good point that Charlie makes here, and it's really the same thing you were saying, Sally, is that it's a matter of his quickness. Yeah, I mean, Balbuena's goal was a nice goal. It was, I mean, he was in the right place at the right time. But yeah, I think I would get Diop back in as well. But other than that, I'm with you guys. I mean, keep the starting 11 more or less the way it is. Again, we don't know Antonio's status. I guess we'll find out. But it's, what I love about this team is I feel as though, if Lanzini, and I know he didn't play a lot on Sunday, but he had the fantastic goal. He had the great moment. If this guy can come off the bench and be an impact player, that's huge for us. If we can bring Ben
for sure,
right? If we have super subs with who are like Lanzini in form, if he is Said Benrahma, if we bring in Aller as a super sub if he's necessary, if we think that's where we need to be, I mean, we can actually
have a good squad.
We can change the course of a game, is what I'm saying. Like we did on Sunday, we can change the course of a game. It's a good squad. All right, Lee, it was good to see you.
I think we take Noble out of the squad completely now. I just don't think there's. But the only problem with doing that and taking Noble out is we're so short in center mid. There's just, to me, Snodgrass doesn't get taken out the squad. Lanzini, Yarmolenko, Haller, Dawson is a necessity, a goalkeeper in Randolph, and then either Fornells or Benrahma. I mean, that's my bench. You can't. There's just no room for Noble anymore.
There's no room for Noble.
To say it.
And I'll say again, I mean, as much as we love Mark Noble and as great a leader and as great a servant as he's been, again, what we talked about before, to me, it still holds. Mark Noble as captain in recent years has not been able to turn games around. And I don't know if Declan Rice did that on Sunday or not. I have no idea. It's hard to say, But for whatever reason, Noble is captain. He's up in people's faces. He's yelling. He's screaming. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But he doesn't seem to have the authority or maybe the charm that he used to have. He doesn't seem to be able to motivate players the way he used to. What I saw on Sunday, I don't think that happens if Mark Noble's on the pitch. I don't think it happens if he's captain. I'm sorry, I just don't. Because it never did. It hasn't for years. For years we've been falling behind like that, and we've just shrugged our shoulders, and we've lost 4-0, and we've just let it go. It was different on Sunday, I think, because the captain was different, and because you have a bunch of young guys out there who don't know they're supposed to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, youthful ignorance. Yeah,
they don't know there's Kufal, these Kufal and Suchek, these Czech guys who know so much English they even speak. They don't know they're supposed to lose. Declan Rice is 21 years old. He's just giving everything he has all the time. A guy like Masuaku, who has been fantastic this season, another one. Hasn't played enough appearances for West Ham to know he's supposed to lose in a situation like that.
Do you guys remember last season? We were losing a game. Can't remember what game. We lost a lot, but we were losing a game, and Moyes asked Mark Noble to come on, and Noble said, "Well, we're losing a game. Why are you turning to me?"
Yes,
You know,
he did say that. Yes,
that's the problem that we had last year that we don't
yes,
have this year.
that we don't have this
options
year.
this year. And in my opinion, if we were losing 3-0 against Tottenham at the end of last season, Moyes would have bought on Mark Noble.
Absolutely, he would have.
This year, he changed it up, and I think Moyes is listening to the fans. I don't know how much he does social media or anything like that, but I think he sees that we have so much talent there. It's time to just give it a go. The West Ham way is always roller coasters. I think that last year we were on a roller coaster that was ready to break. I think right now we're on a roller coaster that has just been made, and everyone wants to ride it.
I feel the same way.
I think it's just a good time to be a West Ham fan.
It feels like a new West Ham to me. And I'm going to tell you this, and hold me to this, okay? Because I will come back on Wednesday. I really feel as though if we lose 5-0 to City, I think I'll still feel the same way. Do you know what I mean? It's going to take
We're not losing 5-0 to City.
I don't think we are either, personally. But even if we have a performance where we don't, even if we don't win, even if we lose, if it's the same type of performance we've seen from the Arsenal match forward, I'm still thinking this is a new West Ham. This is a good question from Kieran. If this kickstarts Lanzini, does it make it harder for Benrahma to start? I don't think Lanzini gets in the starting 11 personally. No. I think to me he's a super sub. I don't think he gets back to this unless we have injuries. I don't think he gets back in. I don't think he's healthy enough.
Yeah, Operation Lanzini redo definitely. It hasn't worked. You know, I mean, he was injured, 2-3 years ago? And I mean, buzzing for his goal, it's going to go down in West Ham lore. He's
definitely,
he's etched his name in history of the club. But at the same time, I mean, that might have been his strength, is give him 25, maybe 30 minutes to be full energy, run around, be a boost in the club. And on the side and see what he can do. But for 90 minutes, I mean, when was the last time we've rated a 90-minute performance from Lanzini? Since after his injury, and it just hasn't happened.
He doesn't have it left. I don't think he has the fitness to do it. I don't think he will ever have the fitness to do it again. But if you can bring a player like that off the bench, it's what you were talking about earlier, Danny. If you can bring a player of that quality,
like Chicharito.
Right, you could bring a guy like that in with 25 minutes to play, in the 65th, 75th minute with 15 minutes to play. You can change the shape of a game that way. If you can bring somebody like that off the bench, he's a super sub. It's like Antonio was for a while last season when he was recovering. You bring somebody in who doesn't just fill a hole; he actually changes the complexion of the game. And I think we have that in Lanzini, but it's hard for me to imagine Lanzini doing a lot of starting this season again, unless we just have a rash of injuries.
Where would he fit in? He's not gonna start ahead of Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma, Antonio, Haller. He's not gonna start over Souček, Rice, and in my opinion, Snodgrass. Snodgrass to me is honestly one of the more key players this season. Because if anyone gets injured, he's going to play in a central mid position, or he's going to play, if he's needed, on the right wing, the left wing. He can play behind the striker. He's a player that is crucial, and I'm so glad that when Celtic came in for him, we said no.
I feel more comfortable. Sorry, I feel more comfortable with him starting against teams like Villa, Brighton, Fulham. The smaller teams. Just because, him and Yarmolenko, they both, are very good technically. Obviously, I think Snodgrass might be one of our best technical players. Yeah. But for 90 minutes against teams that are physical and fast, he didn't have the pace. I don't want him. Yeah. I don't want him there unless it's for maybe the last handful of minutes of the game to close it out. I mean, he's going to give his all. He's going to do whatever he can to win the game, and he can provide some incredible service and the odd rocket every once in a while, but
he's an attitude guy. And as we'd say in the U.S., he's a glue guy, right? I mean, he's he's going to give the full effort every time he steps on the pitch. He's got the same attitude that guys like Antonio have, and the guys we've been talking about, Rice, Masuaku, Ogbonna is another one. The ones who are against Souček, Bowen, all these these guys who are going to give every ounce of effort from start to finish. He's one of those guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not an Allaire. You don't question whether he wants it or not. He always wants it. So yeah, I think he can be very useful. He makes a starting 11 if we have some injuries again, as you said, against some of the teams a little lower in the table, although we always seem to do worse against them. But I'm with you. I'm glad we kept him because again, it's his attitude.
We did keep him.
It's his attitude. He's got a good attitude, and that right now I think that means a lot for this team. So do you guys want to? I always, every time we talk about this, I always say the same thing, which is stupid to predict the score of a match when you don't know who's going to play for either team. But given the likely starting 11s, you guys want to give a prediction for Saturday at? You gonna be up at 5:30, Sully, to watch this one?
Oh, I am.
I know you will. This may be a DVR experience for me. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think's going to happen?
Get up at 7:30. That's no big deal.
Actually, what's funny is usually I am up at 7:30 because Andrew usually has a game at 8:30, but the game doesn't start until 10 on Saturday. So I can watch the whole match and then take him to his game. So that's good. That'll work.
I think we give it a good go. I think both teams score. I don't want to say what team's going to score more because I'm not trying to be negative anymore. Not at this time of the season. But it's got the 3-2, 4-2 kind of feel to it.
That's to me too.
We're not expected to win. We're confident that we can get something out of it. And I think everyone on this channel, every West Ham fan right now would go into this game at this time of the season based on how it's been going and feel confident. We don't have anything to worry about. We do, obviously.
Nothing to fear.
We don't. I'm going to go for a 3-2 3-2 result. That's all I'm going to say, 3-2.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. Sully, what's your take?
I think with the confidence that we're playing with right now is probably as equal to the unbalanced nature of Man City right now. With their injuries and you honestly probably can't even name who they're going to put out in their starting 11 this weekend.
Yeah, we don't know.
And I know there's no fans, but we are playing at home, if that means anything right now. But at the same time, I think we'll definitely give a good run out. I don't think playing lackadaisical is acceptable anymore for this club.
Totally.
And like Dan and you were saying earlier, there's nothing to fear with them right now. So, I agree with Dan. Goals will be scored. If we take all of our opportunities, it's going to be we'll be in there until the very end. I don't know if I can sit here and say who wins because I'm very confident in us. But I'm confident in us because I'm also because Man City is down. But we even when Man City was at full strength, we lost to them 1-0 at their place a couple of years ago in the game that we probably could have drawn or won.
Yeah, we only put 5-0 at home to them.
At the same time, last year since we played at Liverpool in 2 games, we probably should have beat them there last year too.
Yep.
And that was a game where we didn't have any confidence going into it. We were not playing well at all. Just went in to put a performance on a Monday night, and it was fantastic.
I think that will change the season right there. And then COVID.
Yeah.
That was right before COVID.
Yeah.
That
was worst time for COVID to come because we, I think we were 2-2.
We were turning it around.
2-1, and then, scored finally, and Sorry, Sully. Carry on.
No, you're good. I don't know. I agree with Dan. 3-2, 4-2 for whoever takes the W.
I'm glad we both can't pick a team. I know what team I want to say wins.
I can't see I can't pick West Ham to win because I'm superstitious, and every time I've ever picked West Ham to win, we've lost. Right? So
let's say 3-2 City then.
Okay, so I will. This is what I'm saying. I will I'll never pick West Ham to win, but that's because of superstition, not because of what I actually think. I will say that I'm with you guys. We're going to see goals scored. if I had to pick a score, I'd say 3-2, and if I had to pick a score, I'd say 3-2 City. But let me just say this: if we were to lose 3-2, and we put in a good performance, and so did they, do you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
a match played at a high level, and they were better just because they had maybe one or two players who were better. That that's okay with me. That's okay with me. I'm not saying losing is okay in general. I'm saying in this match, if we keep the level of play we've had since Arsenal, right? If we stay at that level, even if we can't beat them because they're just better, they have some better players than we do, that's okay with me. I just want to carry the momentum. I don't want to see another Newcastle. Do you know what I
Lose with
mean?
pride.
Put in
Lose
90
with pride.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lose
put in
with
90
Yeah,
minutes.
I mean-
passion and keep playing like you have been.
If we have a chance to equalize in the 94th minute the way we did against Tottenham, whenever that was, I'll be happy whether we do it or not. Do you know what I mean? That's how I
Sure,
feel about
yeah.
the next two games. I feel that way. City and Liverpool both. Even though
Yeah.
I think Liverpool, I think we can beat them.
And
But
that's the
it's-
thing that's crazy about this season too is, I mean, there's there is that chance that we go out there and beat them 3-0 or
Sure there is.
3-1
Yeah.
or whatever, and
Yeah,
that's
there's every
for
chance.
both of
Yeah.
the next two games. I mean, it's
we
I
smashed Leicester.
I
We
definitely
smashed
think that
Leicester.
no fans. Yeah, I definitely think that no fans doesn't give anybody any pressure, because I think
agree.
the good teams play better when there's fans, because when you're at home, the stadium is buzzing.
And
When
they
you're away,
don't
you want
have to
to
call-
shut a crowd up.
They don't get the decisions from the referee they get when they're fans. I guarantee you, referees
Man,
get
you
influenced
do.
by fans. Well,
Yeah,
Man
Man
U,
U still
that's
gets
because,
I
that's
made
because the
a-
Premier League has decided that Man U it must be treated as as the special golden child at all times.
trying
I
to
guess
put
because of
Man
the
United
number,
back up on the Liverpool level.
right? Just
I
the number.
made a-
Well, that's it. Yeah, the number
I
of
had,
fans worldwide is massive.
I had a free $25 bet in my old my bookie account, and I bet it $25 yesterday that Man United would get a penalty to win $375, and I won.
Good for
I was
you.
just like, I really did. I promise. And
Well, and
Good for
it's
you.
funny with that too, because they got a penalty today and ended up being PSG because of it.
Yep.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
That was
they did.
I
yesterday.
mean,
That was yesterday. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah,
when I won.
Yeah,
yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
But no,
No,
we
they're
don't.
they're the
Yeah.
golden child. We all know that. They I mean, it's because of the size of their fan base. It's because they have.
Man City don't even have fans.
No, they
Remember
don't.
when
Not really.
They signed Robinho and Elano, and when this big Sheik guy came in with all the money, they signed all these top class players. And I was watching. I watched Premiership years and Premiership reviews and stuff like that to fall asleep. I watch it's just relaxing. So I watched these season reviews when Man City were, becoming this team, and there was more away fans than there were home fans. And I feel like their fan base now is tourists and people that are just bandwagoners and people that just. I've got a friend who used to be an Arsenal fan and now he's a Man City fan. You don't do that in England. That's not.
Right.
Yeah,
legal.
you
That's
shouldn't do
frowned
that
upon.
anywhere. You shouldn't do that anywhere, Danny. You
Yeah.
shouldn't do that anywhere. I mean, no, you shouldn't do that anywhere. Man City, the joke was always that, everybody in Manchester was a Man City fan, everybody outside of Manchester was a Manchester United fan. Honestly, I kind of don't think that's true. I mean, I've known people from Manchester who were Manchester United fans, just to be honest,
Sure.
And I'm not saying I've known many people from Manchester, but I'm just saying, there are plenty of Man United fans in Manchester. Manchester City just never had that big a following, and I think most of their following now is like around the world, as you said, Danny, people who are sort of like bandwagoners.
Everyone in North Carolina is Man United fans. Everybody that I know that likes football is a Man United fan in North Carolina. The only people that I know outside of Man U fans, you guys know I drive an hour and a half away to watch West Ham sometimes. If I don't have the kids on Saturdays, I go to the pub. It's a Liverpool pub.
Yeah.
But they welcome fans all over. They show all the games at the same time. Kind of like if you watch an NFL on Sunday, you put all the games on. Well, they do that, and their fan base in there is incredible. Like, it's a Liverpool pub, but we rented it out years ago, West Ham Army, and we were only supposed to have 350 people in there. We had 572.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
that was
crazy.
when we played the Rowhawks, and I proposed to the devil on the field at halftime.
Oh, you did?
In front of like 16,000 people. That backfired. glad I didn't marry that one. But
Wait,
no,
did she say yes on the field?
Yeah, yeah. I got
But it
video
didn't. It
of
didn't.
but
But it didn't go through. It didn't go through.
What's that?
What, you said you proposed?
Yeah, I proposed to her on the field at halftime in front of 16,000 people. It was like a game show.
And she said. And she said. She said yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't get married.
No, she got pregnant when we were planning the wedding, and then it became reality that, okay, we're having kids. We need to focus on the kids first. The wedding can wait. I didn't need to have a wedding, you know. My last
I
name's
understand. I didn't
my
mean to get into all
last
this.
name's
I
not
just.
that popular.
What was it
No,
like to
but,
propose? What was it
that-
like to
that
propose in
pub
front of
is
all those
just-
people? What was it like? I mean, I've seen that on TV, but what was it like?
I
you-
had to take my beer on the field. 'Cause I was definitely nervous. No, it was just like, you know, I had arranged it. So I basically arranged the pub meet. So
Okay.
like I said, I've been going to Raleigh for games all the time. I support him. My friend is the manager up there. He owns the bar and everything.
Yeah.
I said to him, I know you guys are a Liverpool-based pub, but West Ham are playing the Railhawks 10 minutes up the road. If I can arrange a meet, can we rent out the pub for the day? And he said, yeah. And I made something on Facebook. It was an American Hammers kind of thing. And I kind of like made a poll. Here's a venue. Will you come? Kind of thing. And
Yeah.
we only had 338 people say yes, but we had 572 people come in. And
Wow.
I got to do like a meet and greet with the players and dinner and stuff like that. VIP.
That's fantastic.
I did the VIP training session. Dean Window, you know him?
You know,
know,
I
Dean
do.
Window.
He's a friend on Facebook, but we've never had him on the show. We need to have him on the show.
Yeah,
He seems like a really good
great
dude.
guy.
Yeah, seems like a really
we
good
went to
dude. We got to
see-
have him on.
We went to see his son in the hospital with
Yes,
Mark
Joel.
Noble.
Joel was in very bad
Yeah.
shape back then.
We went
Yeah.
to see him with Mark Noble and a few other players and stuff. And he gave me, his son was very sick that time, that he gave me his tickets to the VIP training session.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
that's when I arranged the proposal thing. And but yeah, if you guys are ever in North Carolina, ever just want to get away, I'll take you to the pub, man. It's amazing. The people there are awesome, and it's just all the fans
I would
get
love
along
it.
and everything. And
I would love
I've
it.
got so
Yeah.
many videos of Liverpool fans. My favorite song in football, besides "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles," is "You'll Never Walk Alone." And one day I'm gonna go to Anfield and I'm gonna listen to that, you know, with 50,000 people singing it. But I get chills when these Liverpool fans sing it just in the fucking pub. It's just that kind of atmosphere. It's that kind of atmosphere that everyone gets along and everyone enjoys football. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's a good time.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that story about you proposing, but that's pretty funny. I've never known anybody who actually did that before.
Turned
Yeah,
out
I'd
great.
love. I haven't been to North Carolina in probably 20 years. So yeah,
Well,
one of
come
these
on.
days. One of these days, man. One of these days when you know.
I do want to travel during this season, and watch some games with some guys in here. There's a lot of people that, you know, there's no one I dislike in here. Even if I did, I wouldn't say it. But I get along with everyone in here. You
Okay,
know, I get along
listen.
with everyone in here, and
Come to New England. Come to New England in the spring. You know, maybe the whole pandemic thing will be over, but in any case, it's you know,
you can
toward
never
the
have
end
too
of the
many
season.
friends. You can never have
Toward
too
the end
many
of the
friends
season?
with West Ham fans. Yeah,
That's true.
I
You
get-
can never know too many West Ham fans. You can never have too many
Yeah.
West Ham friends. There's no doubt about that.
I do.
Yeah,
wanna go
come
to
in like
Stowe.
May. It's a great time.
Maybe April, May. I do want to go to Stowe's. I spoke to Wally and John Nolan about that, so I do want to.
Yeah,
go
Tim's
to
been
Stowe's.
down there. He had a great time. Yeah.
But I just want to experience. You know, I want to watch. I want to watch West Ham games. So West Ham fans.
I'm sorry. It's true. It's true.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
You know, Charlie. Okay, my cousin Vinny. Have you seen it? You haven't seen it?
No, never.
It was a
never even heard of
movie.
it.
It was a movie in the early '90s with Joe Pesci, and he plays a lawyer from Brooklyn. Charlie's from Brooklyn, of course.
Yeah.
He plays a lawyer from Brooklyn, and his nephews. Well, he's not a very good lawyer. He's like barely a lawyer, and his nephews are wrongly accused of murder in a small town in the South somewhere. I don't know where it's supposed to be, Georgia or someplace. And then he goes down to defend them because he's the only lawyer they can afford, you know. And
Yeah.
so he's this like, he's in this small southern town, and he's this guy from Brooklyn with like leather jackets, and he's Joe Pesci. You know what I mean? He's like the character. He's like his character in Goodfellas, basically. So yeah, that would be Charlie in the South. Yes. That makes me want to go to North Carolina with Charlie. Actually, that makes me want to experience that. Yeah, that's good. That's funny. Anyway, yeah. So we're not gonna do it 2.5 hours tonight because I'm too tired.
Yeah, I'm tired now.
And Danny, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. or something. And
Yeah,
Sally, do you have class
4:15.
tomorrow?
I do, but it's not till the evening.
What are you studying anyway? I can't remember.
Well, right now I'm an open option major. I have to get my GPA up before I can apply to go to the journalism school here.
Oh,
but-
really?
Yeah, but the 4 classes that I'm taking, one is a history of ancient Greece. There's a film analysis for non-majors class, discourse and discourse, identities, and culture, and then deviance in U.S. society is what I'm taking right now.
Oh, deviance in U.S. society. I might get mentioned in that one. You might study about me in that one. I don't know.
Hey,
I'll let you know.
You want to get
Sally,
a journalism
I'm in,
degree?
Colorado. I'm in Colorado in February, Sally, if you're around. I don't know if you'll still be there, but I'm going.
No, I mean, if you're flying in a DIA, man, you're not too far away. It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in December, yeah, I mean,
No,
where are you
February.
going in Colorado?
I go to Breckenridge and Val. I have family live there. So
Okay, yeah, it'd just be a couple hours away, not
You
too
gotta
far.
slum it.
Breck
You
is
gotta
pretty
slum
close
it.
to where I am.
You got slum it
Vale's
in
kind of.
jail.
I don't know how excited I'll be to drive up there in the middle of December. I'll be honest, but
no, I'm going in
No.
February. I'm not going anywhere in December.
oh, I mean,
That
February is
doesn't
just as
sound much
bad as
better. I guess it
December.
doesn't sound much better
February is
for driving
not
in
much better
Colorado.
at all. It's
Yeah.
it'll snow here
Yeah.
from Halloween till St. Patrick's Day, and even then it'll snow afterwards. But yeah, I mean, if you're down, then I'm free. I'll definitely try to make the trip for sure.
I
So
figured.
you're-
I figured if you're single and I'm single, we can spend Valentine's Day together, Sally, and we can watch West Ham play.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that too, Charlie. Thanks, man.
Just
Yeah,
thinking
listen.
about
But
it.
yeah.
Billy, you want to be a journalist? Is that right?
Yeah. So I've always, when I was in high school, I played football, American football, for 2 years, and then I
Yeah.
realized that just being tall doesn't make you a good player. So I went from playing on the team to running the sports column in my high school newspaper.
Oh, nice.
So I did that for a while, and then I've always liked broadcasting. I used to want to do it on TV, like for the games,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
would be cool.
Me
But
too.
I
did
think
too.
I like this a lot more, to where you can have
Yeah.
a discussion about it and things like that. So, if I'm able to do like podcasting, like the dream honestly would be to have a show like Colin Coward or something like that. Like that would be
Mhm.
sweet. But
That would be sweet. I
anything that
agree.
I
That'd
can
be
do that
sweet.
I can talk about sports, I'll be happy with.
I knew a guy who did that in St. Louis years ago, and he was on a station that changed format, and he ended up losing his job. But the way it worked for him was, if I'm not mistaken, he actually bought it was on a Fox Sports radio station, so it was a radio network. You know what I mean? It was a sports station. But I think he had to buy the time on the station and then sell ads to like pay for his show. Do you know what I mean?
So,
That's how he made money.
yeah.
So he had to sell his own ads,
Mhm.
And I know that there was a guy locally here in Lowell who was on a local Lowell station doing a very local, very small little Lowell station doing a radio show, sports radio show. And he did the same thing. He sold ads. And so whatever he had to, the money he spent to get on the radio, he made up from selling ads, and whatever he sold on top of that, he kept. That was his salary. So, but I knew a guy who did that in St. Louis, and I think he did okay. Like he actually made it work. So, but then the station changed format, and that was the end. But you got plenty of clips from being on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different paths to get into it. Sometimes you just have to be lucky. Other times, it's just knowing the right people. Like one of the major hosts on the Today Show, he never even went to broadcasting school. He just happened to, just fall into the gig. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fingers crossed, I'm able to make it work out. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be fantastic. I was I've mentioned this many times. I was a journalist, but I was a journalist for like trade magazines in the in the technology industry, so it wasn't very exciting. But I hosted a lot of webcasts back then and stuff like that. I love doing it. It's the same thing I do here, right? Except it wasn't
Yeah.
on camera. There was a PowerPoint on the screen, but
Mhm.
I love doing that. It's great. I mean, if you could do that, it's great. I think it's fantastic that you're doing that. I hope it works out for you. I hope one of these days I'm watching Fox Sports or ESPN, and I can be like, it's Selly. I know Selly. I used to work with Selly, sort of.
Yeah, no,
And then
thanks.
you could pretend you never knew who I was.
No, I wouldn't do
You'd be like,
that.
I know who that is. That would be okay if you wanted to do that. Anyway, we all got to get up tomorrow, I guess. So our friends in the chat room are all kind of fading away here. So, listen, this has been so much fun. I love having you guys on here. Two of my favorite guys to have on, and it was good to have you back, Selly, and good to have you around as always, Danny. So, Danny in Greensboro and Selly, doing a good job studying for the future down there or out there in Colorado. Thanks for being on. And I think there's a show tomorrow, isn't there? I think there's a fixture focus tomorrow in the afternoon. Pretty sure.
I know Katie and Rebecca are on tomorrow.
Oh, Katie and Rebecca are on the most watched show on American Hammers Network. That's true. Yes, they do Hammer. What's it called? Hammer the Point or Hammer It Out? I think it's called Hammer It Out.
Never know.
Everything has a hammer metaphor. That's why I call the show West Ham Wednesday Night, because I'm so good at naming things. That's the best I could come up with. It's like we talk about West Ham on Wednesday night, so here we are. Hammer It Out. So watch them. They're really good. Everybody likes them. They know their football and they're fun to listen to. So anyway, thanks for everybody for showing up. Watch them tomorrow. Wait a minute. Somebody put what is it saying on some? Oh, I was Danny. Danny sent a chat message 4 minutes ago saying I gotta get off because I'm exhausted. And I've been wrapping up for the last 10 minutes. Anyway. Right.
Because Karen didn't tell you to wrap it up. That's why Karen dropped the ball. I didn't tell you to wrap up.
We'll see you next week, and we'll have Friday night. Friday Night Likes is Friday night at I think 8:00, and then there's a watch along on Saturday and everything else. So anyway, until then, come on, you Irons.
See you guys.